In Longview, the advisory committee for the animal shelter there is working to address the problem of unrestrained animals after a deadly incident back in February in which a man was attacked by unrestrained dogs. KLTV7's Christine Guevara has our story.
Longview citizens will get the chance to share their questions, comments, and concerns about unrestrained animals at Monday's Animal Shelter Advisory Committee meeting. On February 1st, a man was found dead with dog bite wounds along Martin Luther King Boulevard and Rayburn Drive. Later that month, 56-year-old Martin Rodriguez was charged with attack by a dog causing death in connection with the incident. At the May 30th City Council meeting, council members discussed the issue and agreed to send this topic to the Animal Shelter Advisory Committee.
I believe that's the appropriate place for us to receive feedback as well as consider ordinance changes, increased penalties for violation of those ordinances, and other things that the city could do, including increasing animal control officers' hours and locations.
The city is asking for specific ideas from residents.
Now that can be as simple as having, more stringent rules on unrestrained animals who get loose from their homes. It could even potentially be if a resident has multiple issues as it relates to animals, are there additional restrictions we could place on that person in terms of owning future animals.
Monday's meeting will be the first step in making change. The committee plans to schedule future meetings for public comment as they work through this issue.
We can come up with all the plans we want as staff or as city council, but really this is an issue that affects the entire community, so we want to hear the community's input before we start moving forward.
Christine Guevara, KLTV 7 News.
And again, that meeting is set to happen this Monday evening at Longview City Hall beginning at 5:30.